There exists a time before time where the world had not yet been made. We are seeing the implications on the planet when we value masculine over the feminine. The very distance of the past provides room for criticism. Bad critique separates things, denies ultimate interconnectedness. Patriarchy stress disorder. The earth cries for the antidote. In the story of Eden, there was a oneness at the beginning of the world that shattered. Eve fell from the garden and humanity ruptured into an array of ovals, circles, and serpentine lines in radiant colours. But Eve was a rib of Adam, blame cannot fall upon she, for Eve was divine, a passive being of radiant love, persuaded by dominant masculine forces, twisting her out of alignment and pressing lips to pomex her carp. Since the fall, life has been a pursuit of bringing together the opposite forces that were torn apart. Poetic philosophy of pampichism in moments of great loving. Closeness of divinity has become of the highest importance. Midsummer upon the holy mountain, the sky the colour of pomegranates, fertile grounds for feminine caress, rich repositories of learning, a hexing on injustices. Contemporary art is replacing religion as a way of extending or communicating the meaning of life in these pragmatic spiritual times. Contemporary artists borrow images from the past to say things impossible to express in a modernist visual language. Working from the inside, feminist artists try to overcome the imposed polarization between the personal and the political, nature and culture, feminine and masculine. From the bricolage of spiritual research I've undertaken, Buddhism, Christianity, Hinduism, Islam, Taoism and Theosophy, I've realised that magic lives as a plurality of thriving spiritual cultures, and that the feminine is essential to all life. Hilma af Klint was a Swedish artist, born into a Protestant family in 1862. She is the pioneer of abstract art whose name you won't find in the history books. She kept her work private for 20 years after her death in 1944, and only had her first solo show 6 years ago. Remaining strong in her motivation to not sell any paintings individually, to refrain from her work being involved in the consumerist motivations of the art world. To be acknowledged as having produced the first abstract painting had become a highly coveted prize, falsely awarded to Vasily Kandinsky in 1911. There is no doubt that Kandinsky produced great works and that greatness depends on great inspiration, but hardly anyone believed that when women painted, the higher powers came into play. Yet Klint came before Kandinsky. She came into early contact with Theosophy and attended her first séance at the age of 17. In 1905, she received a message from Spirit. I quote, "You are to proclaim a new philosophy of life, and you yourself are to be a part of the new kingdom." Following this, she rapidly produced 193 spiritually charged paintings for the temple. Primordial Chaos, 1906-7, The Seed, illustrates the birth of the world and the dualities Klint believed were essential to life. These 26 small, expressive canvases make up her first abstract series for the temple. Geometric shapes, dynamic brushstrokes, letters, and symbols broke entirely free from representation whilst being reminiscent of landscapes. There was something formless yet complete that existed before heaven and earth, without sound, without substance, dependent on nothing, unchanging, all-pervading, unfailing. One may think of it as the mother of all things under heaven. Taoism is an ancient Chinese religion philosophy believed to be connected to philosopher Lao Tzu, who wrote Taoism's main book, Tao Te Ching, around 500 BC. Taoists believe in spiritual immorality and that humans and animals should live in harmony with the Tao. The balancing symbol yin and yang shows that everything in the universe is connected and nothing makes sense by itself. Isomorphic symbols continue to arise throughout history, especially Ouroboros, because it is circular, self-containing and matriarchal. Also relating to the theme of creation and myth is the great hermaphrodite, or the Hindu Purusha, who combines the poles. It is not only existing in one form, but also represents the all masculine and feminine. In Christianity, the story of Eve and sin is used to justify forbidding women to education and denying pain relief during childbirth. It is believed that pain was created by God for women. In the late Middle Ages, more women died from childbirth than the Black Plague. However, Eve was a hero bringing enlightenment, and the serpent was a truth teller. The two worked together against an authoritarian and punishing God. Denied power in church, women were able to lead services not burdened with misogynistic thinking and texts. Theosophy, merging the two Greek terms theos, meaning God, and sophia, meaning wisdom, translate to divine wisdom. It is any number of philosophies maintaining that a knowledge of God may be achieved through spiritual ecstasy, direct intuition, or special individual relations, founded by Helena Blavatsky during the late 19th century. Theosophists believe there is a mystical truth beyond human consciousness that can be accessed through a transcending state of mind, for example, meditation. It allows shifts in the female perspective on hierarchy, re-envisioning female power. Klint herself never married or had children. Her life was encompassed by painting. The 10 Largest, 1907, is a journey through the stages of life: childhood to youth, youth to adulthood, adulthood to old age. The paintings combine imagery that's derived from organic forms, botanicals, creatures, and objects that are observed in the real world. The colours are meant to be educational, revealing feelings in an economical way. It is more difficult to automate emotional intelligence, and this is where the worker's competitive advantage over machines currently lies. Artificial intelligence is rapidly assuming a larger share of thinking tasks, masculine, leaving human intelligence to focus on feeling, feminine. The result is the feeling economy, in which both employees and consumers emphasize feeling to an unprecedented extent, with thinking tasks largely delegated to AI. In this new economy, through empathy and people skills, women may gain an unprecedented degree of power and influence. Once female mediums attained a certain level of respect, they began to speak more for themselves instead of speaking only for spirits. In her work after 1912, her use of Christian iconography and geometric forms increased, and by 1917, Klint stopped producing art for a spirit altogether. The frame of recognizability allows certain things to be included, or not, according to the discourse of time, generally missing what a patriarchal viewpoint won't show. Klint was simply, explicitly ahead of her time. Contemporary paganism and witchcraft rose in the 1960s as the New Age, popularized with Buffy the Vampire Slayer and The Craft. Modern expressions are found on Instagram and WitchTok, a trending side of TikTok brimming with live stream tutorials, educating videos, and documenting the day-to-day lives of witches. Although easy to dismiss contemporary witches, sometimes the pursuit of gender equality requires a little witchcraft. Magic's relationship with art is deeply strange and symbiotic. We could even say that magical practice is inherently artful. The casting of a protective circle, the spread of a tarot deck, the deep laws of trance and meditation. When art is accessible, some viewers will be so directly touched by the experience that they will be led to make aesthetic, personal, or political statements of their own. A standing stone in the landscape seems not to dominate its surroundings as to coexist sensually with them. It confirms a human need to touch, to hold, and to make in relation to natural forces and phenomena. It is even more tantalizing to feminists, working to understand where nature got separated from culture and how women became associated with an inferior natural line. Narcissistic spirituality, perpetuated through the recurring resurgence of occult curiosity and modernized through consumerist ideals, is a tool to strengthen the patriarchy. Individuals use their spiritual or religious beliefs as a means of gaining power, control, and admiration from others. Magic's social composition either embraces or challenges hierarchy. The promise of secret knowledge can assist the deceptions of false gurus and create opportunities for cultic exploitation. Feminist history tends to be written as a secular movement, indifferent and in fact hostile to spirit, but most revolutionaries have emerged from and alongside esoteric developments like spiritualism, theosophy and paganism. Development of the feminist consciousness requires interrogation and breaking free from monotheistic Abrahamic religions which used religious doctrines to justify the political and cultural subjugation of women. Women's neglected experiences and ideas need to be brought to the centre of our religious, personal and social lives.